skills, the right competencies to achieve and master whatever they're trying to do. So you may have seen at some point, or we may have talked about it at some point in the previous webinars, about how Brightspace's mission is to transform the way the world learns and to reach every learner. And while those are wonderful, grandiose goals, I'm sure we can all agree, what we really mean is we want to make it easier for everyone to learn. We want to remove barriers to learning, whether that's accessibility in terms of people that may have a disability, or just making it readily available on a phone all over the world, regardless of someone's internet bandwidth. Or we could be talking about access to information. So a lot of platforms and a lot of tools require programming knowledge and kind of technical ability to get knowledge out there for someone to take in learning. Brightspace isn't like that. It's set up so that any person with subject matter expertise can come in and create a course. And I'll show you what that looks like shortly. And then lastly, we want to make it engaging and memorable and effective training. So we want to go beyond just checking off a box and having people actually demonstrate their ability or get together and collaborate so that they can improve as a group as they move through these processes. Now, a number of our associations customers love a couple of the features I'm going to show you here, one of which is our ability to automate within the platform. So we know that most associations don't have large teams, but they are mighty. We want to give them as much efficiency as possible. We can do that within our messaging center here. So you can see that we can get emails, subscription notifications, and updates so that whenever anything changes, whenever someone is enrolled in a course, whenever someone's question is answered, Brightspace will automatically send that person a message to let them know that that change happened, so that your administrators, your executives can spend time working on strategic things rather than the everyday kind of administrative stuff about checking to see who's done what or making sure everyone's aware of the various information. All of that will be done for you. Now, Brightspace also offers a number of languages, 18 to be exact, including English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Mandarin, many, many languages, so that no matter where people are, no matter what language you want them to be using, they'll have access, as well as a number of accessibility kind of features. So Brightspace is rigorously tested by our in-house accessibility team to make sure that every single feature we release, every single bit of content within the platform can be fully accessible so that you're meeting all of the state and federal laws, no matter where you might be, or exceeding them, because that's really what we pride ourselves on in the accessibility area as well, is exceeding the requirements to make the best possible experience for people that may have a disability. And the wonderful thing about that is it's kind of a win-win, because whenever the platform becomes more accessible for someone who might have a disability, it becomes more intuitive and easy to use for everyone. So it really helps out in that way. One of the other reasons that Brightspace, I think, is really effective at what it does is that it offers the ability to deliver content in any way you want. So we have customers all over the world delivering kind of Brightspace as a way to facilitate classroom learning, or as a way to do blended learning with some classroom, some online, or fully online classroom training, all the way to self-paced training and even virtual conferences. So really, when it comes down to it, a virtual conference is a way to get people together and to communicate with them and get them talking and watching keynotes. Brightspace can do all of that with the native tool set to make it really easy for everyone to get what they need, as well as keep learning and education at the forefront of those events, so that people are able to get the most value out of them as possible. Now, the way Brightspace does this is through configurability. So all over the platform, we have the ability to configure the experience so that users get exactly what they need when they need it. So on the home page here, this nav bar can be configured to show users exactly what they need, whether that's an instructor or a user or a member. We can give them access to what they need. And once we're in a course, the same will be true, where once we're in a course level things will pop up here to give people quick access to things like assessment or virtual classroom. Now, the rest of the homepage can also be configured to show whatever we might want to, with the My Courses widget showing all the courses I'm enrolled in, information about a due date or when it was completed, and quick actionable access to quizzes or assignments or discussions I may need to view or read in order to move through my kind of day-to-day learning within the platform. We can also configure the calendar with events in it so that users have the ability to subscribe to this calendar and have notifications pop up for them on whatever device, whatever tool they might be using. So as a nice little feature, we can subscribe to this, and then these notifications will pop up in Outlook or Google Calendar so that users aren't having to come back into Brightspace over and over again to view all these various things. Within the announcements in Twitter, we also have the ability to push information out to users whenever we might want to. So it makes it really, really easy for you to communicate with your member base or your learner base and give them what they need. Let them know about new legislation or new rules or new course offerings that you might have. Really anything in that area can be set up to work really, really seamlessly and easily as you move through your kind of day-to-day management of the platform itself. Now, the last thing I want to mention on the homepage is our approach to the mobile experience. And I'm certain, in fact, that you will not be impressed when I say that Brightspace works on a mobile device, because that's kind of table stakes at this point. But the way we accomplish this is what really matters, with the combination of an app that people can download or just full mobile responsiveness so that no app is needed, no new phone, no auto updates. Everything just kind of dynamically scales and moves around exactly how I might want to work really seamlessly on any device for all users all the time. So with that, I will jump into a course and show you what the course experience within Brightspace looks like. Now we can have a course homepage. You can see that the nav bar is now changed. We can gamify the experience to push for higher levels of collaboration and achievement through these automatically released awards for adding 5 threads to a topic, or we could also have one for getting over 95% on every quiz or something like that to push people to do more and achieve more within the platform. Now, like I was saying, Brightspace has the ability to make it so that anyone with subject matter expertise has the ability to add content to the platform. And that's through our built-in content tool. So rather than just having to do an external publish or something like that and upload, Brightspace has the ability to quickly and easily make a new module within this course simply by typing the name of the module. Then I can grab content from my desktop here, simply drag and drop, and just this quickly and easily, this content is now in Brightspace, ready for that learner, that member to take in that content. And it will automatically send an update to that user as well, telling them that that content is now available. And then beyond this, we also have the ability to drag and drop this content around. So it's truly a zero programming knowledge platform in terms of the ability to bring content in, can move content around in this course if I want to. Makes it really, really easy to curate and create these courses as you move through them. Now, beyond content import, what we can also do is actually create content within the platform. And the advantage there is that if we can create content in the platform, we can also edit it within the platform. So it makes that process of course evolution and course update really, really quick and easy because you do it all in one place. And that can be assignments or checklists, discussions, quizzes, surveys, all those various interactive items. Or simply and easily, we can create a file within the platform. Just name this new file for today. And I can just start typing content. Now, the really nice thing about this creation experience, though, is that we have these built-in document templates that we can leverage to make these beautifully designed, fully accessible, fully responsive pages within the platform, where I can come in and I can start typing out content the same way I could in a Word document or an email, except for the fact that it's going to be fully responsive and accessible as we move through these processes. The nice thing about these templates is that through a partnership with our Learning and Creative Services department, which is a built-in content shop within D2L, you have the ability to have these templates customized to your organization's standards. Your branding, your font, your colors, your logo could appear at the bottom of every single one of these pages so that every single time someone used them, the content really felt like it belonged, rather than that being that externally sourced content that someone might be using as you move through that process. Worth noting that if you have the expertise, you can also customize these yourself. Now, beyond this, we want to take these pages and make them more dynamic and engaging. So this is where video can come into it. And I recently read a survey that 86% of the time when we want to learn something, we go straight to YouTube. So video has become a huge part of the way we want to learn and the way we're used to learning. So Brightspace wants to make that really easy as well. So So you can see here that my webcam is going to turn on directly live within the platform, and I can record a new video introducing myself to the class and say something like, "Hi, I'm Michael. I'm really excited to be teaching this course." Hi, I'm Michael. And I could re-record it if I want to without bedhead that I didn't realize I had, and I can move through this process. And then because Brightspace is a fully responsive and accessible platform, it's going to prompt me to add accessibility information like the title and the description, as well as an audio language, because Brightspace will automatically generate captions within the platform to make it really easy for everyone to use. And this is a really key feature for a lot of people, because maybe like me, they like to have the captions on when they really want to learn, because they find reading along as they go really helps them as they move through this process. So just this quickly and easily, we can create a new page. There's a built-in accessibility checker we can use. I can click this nice save and close button. And just like that, just that quickly, we've created a brand new page with content I typed in, a video I just created that's going to be fully captioned, that's again, fully responsive. So you can be certain that no matter what you're delivering to your learners or your members, they're going to be able to take it in on whatever device they might be using as they move through this. Now, I mentioned our Learning and Creative Services department here, and I think it's worth giving you a quick glimpse at what they can do and how talented they are. So through a partnership with them, you can get templates so they can build courses for you to help you leverage that great subject matter expertise and take that small but mighty team and add an extra person to it for the time that you need them. So this types of leadership page, when we first got it, was a simple PDF with paragraphs and paragraphs of content. And our Learning and Creative Services department took this page and made it more dynamic. They had added beautiful graphics, tabs that I can click through, some dynamic imagery with a nice quote, inline activities so that I can assess my competency as I'm moving through this process and go through the questions and see exactly what I need to know, maybe review the content, as well as this awesome drag and drop activity, which used to be just a simple PDF explaining what each user was in terms of independent follower, hostile follower, in terms of what they liked, and turned it into this awesome drag and drop exercise where I can actually click through and figure out what kind of leader would be best for each type of follower so that I can actually learn about leadership rather than just read a paragraph that, if we're all being honest, more likely than not, I'm going to forget after we go through this process. So it's that way to make the content more memorable and effective rather than just having someone read through some content. Now, Brightspace has the ability to quiz people, and we have these wonderful release conditions that we can use to personalize learning journeys, because we know not all learners are going to go through these courses at the same speed or with the same ability or show up with the same level of baseline knowledge. But at the end, we need to make sure that that learner has everything they need to succeed. So with these release conditions, a user can go through this quiz and either prove they have the knowledge and proceed without having to do this content, or Brightspace will automatically identify that knowledge gap and then automatically assign this extra content to close that knowledge gap, or assign another quiz or whatever that might be, so that all learners get what they need. It's help for those who need it and speed and efficiency for those who don't. Now, I mentioned before, we also have the ability to go beyond kind of those classic quizzes and assessment of multiple choice questions and do a little bit more within the platform. So you can see here, I'm signed in as a learner now, in this case, my 3-year-old daughter, and we're going to do a little bit of leadership training for her because, I mean, she's a little bit too headstrong as she moves around. But we can see Brightspace in action from the learner view. And you may be noticing that it's not all that different than the instructor view. And the reason for that is we want it to be really, really easy for everyone to use. And in this case, we even have an award that she just got showing that gamification in action to show her, in this case, it's just for starting the course, but it's a great way to incentivize people and get people kind of more motivated to do more, as well as inform them that awards exist. Now within this, I can see that all those new pieces of content that I dragged in are automatically being notified to this learner, as well as that page we only just created. So as a learner, I can come in and get quick and easy access to that new content that I just created within the platform, and then continue on right where I want to as I move through these courses. Now, we also have the ability to use what we call video assessment to test mastery and competency in these things. So in this case, I have a admittedly silly little assessment of what leadership is in 2 minutes or less for this user to do. But the nice thing about this is it can be used for anything you want, any scenario, any setup where someone needs to go in and watch something. And then rather than type out a paragraph or answer a bunch of multiple choice questions, this user is going to have to go in and record a video of what their views on leadership are. So it's a much more effective assessment of that learner and their ability than just trying to figure out exactly how to answer 4 multiple choice questions right. So in this case, leadership in 2 minutes or less, and remembering, of course, that we're signed in as my 3-year-old, we could say something like, leadership is all about crying and screaming and refusing to get dressed until I get what I want. I can stop that. I can watch it back if I'd like to. In this case, I'm not going to because I prefer not to listen to my own voice, if that's all right. Save that, and then it's going to process, and we'll be able to watch it back and get some analysis on it if we want to make sure we're getting everything out of this that we want to as we move through this. It also provides that really nice safe environment for practice as a user moves through this, where they get what they need and they can practice as many times as they want prior to submitting until they're comfortable. So it's not that one-on-one meeting or assessment with a person. It's the ability to do it as many times as you want, practice, improve, and achieve the level that you're happy with before submitting. Now, beyond this, we can also do peer assessment and instructor assessment of those submitted videos. So in this case, I have another user that came in and submitted a video of Michael Scott talking about leadership, which, I mean, we can all be fairly certain is going to be not the best content. So maybe we could just type, do better here. In this case, you can see the video automatically pauses, so I have time to type out my comment. And as soon as I submit this comment, the video will automatically continue. So it's a really powerful tool to give people contextualized feedback, where again, I can use video to do that and say, maybe instead of saying that, you should have said this and you could have said it this way. So that as that learner comes through, as a peer comes through and sees it, they're going to see exactly where that learner could improve, exactly where they could have done better, and exactly how they could have done better, which is the most important aspect of that, where I can click and jump directly to those timestamped comments to make that really, really easy for that user to get contextualized feedback. Now, beyond this, if we want to make this even more effective as a self-practice tool, Brightspace also has this auto-analysis feature, which is going to transcribe that video I just recorded, provide me a transcript, give me a score for my clarity of speech, give me a score for the speed at which I spoke, which I think if we're all being honest here is probably a little bit too fast, as well as the number of filler words that I used, and the ability to define key terms, whatever you may want them to be, to give that user a score for them to help improve on. So speaking rate, probably a tiny bit too fast. Didn't use any filler words, that's great. And apparently I'm speaking quite clearly, also very good, but I didn't do very well on the key terms that this assignment is saying I should use. So it's a great tool to help people improve without even having another person have to assess them as they move through these processes. Now, the last thing I want to show you for today is our ability to host virtual classroom segments within the platform. So we have a fully integrated tool to host these sessions within the platform that I can create live within the session. And we'll do that to show you a few of the features. So we'll just call this meeting for today. Set it to now, although we can schedule it whenever we may want to. Set a duration up to 4 hours. Set it to record automatically because we all know that we forget to press record on those Zoom sessions. And set it to publish automatically as well. And the nice feature there is that if we publish it automatically, the users who accessed it from whatever link they accessed it from will also be able to view the recording from the same link as they move through the process. So that if they miss the first 10 minutes or it's a month later and they just want to come back and review, they have the ability to do so, where accessing the meeting is exactly the same kind of file structure and way that we could for any other type of content. So from that content we created earlier, simply press next, and then we're into the meeting lobby where I can copy the link and send it out, or any learners that are enrolled in this course can simply enter the meeting room. Or, because it's fully integrated, it will automatically create a meeting link within the calendar that will then automatically push to those who subscribe to that calendar. So they're going to get all these notifications on their terms as well. Then with a couple clicks, I can enter the meeting room and I'm good to go. So in this case, I'm just going to hit listen only, so I'm going to have double audio. And you can see that there was no app that was needed, no Teams, no Zoom app, nothing like that, no Google extension. It simply just runs in the browser and on any device to make this a really easy to use dynamic process. And because this tool is focused on education at its core, we're greeted with a whiteboard that I can annotate and move through this process as we go. And I can share my camera up top, as well as learners having the ability to share their cameras as well as they come into the course with me, with the ability to change the size of this as we go. So my colleague has very nicely volunteered to jump into this session with me, and she's going to help me show you a few of the features here. So as an instructor, I can annotate this slide as I go, talk about Brightspace. I can also turn on multi-user mode, where Elise now has the ability to annotate with me so that we can collaborate as we move through this process. And I'll also be able to see her little laser pointer there, and she can go through and type something or draw a picture, really whatever she feels like doing today for fun, and move through that process. So she's going to try to write freehand. I like it. I also have the ability to share my screen, and whenever I'm done with this slide, I can quickly jump to the next one and turn multi-user mode off, because maybe I just want to do this one by myself, or turn it on and we can both do that again. Now, beyond this, we can also upload a presentation so that I can share that with the group. And you may be wondering, why would I want to upload a presentation when I could just as easily share my screen? But the nice thing about this is that if I upload the presentation, the tool is going to automatically convert this PowerPoint into a PDF that Elise and I can then annotate together. So to be on brand, because this is marketing after all, I'm going to change that to D2L Orange, and I'm going to highlight our 20 years of experience as being a really important factor. So I know we're still talking over a PowerPoint, but it's a way to make it a little bit more dynamic and entertaining as we move through these processes and make it a little bit more fun for everyone. Now on the second slide here, I could also maybe ask a question and say to my group, in this case just Elise, whether users are going to use this on their phone, tablet, or desktop. And because polling is available, and click A, B, and C. Elise is going to see the options pop up. She chose A, and I can see that here. And then I can stop polling, and I can publish those results here so that I can show the entire class exactly what that popular opinion is, exactly what people might be thinking. Or I can ask a trick question and get people more engaged and get people kind of more incentivized to contribute as they move through these processes. Now, within this, I also have the ability to set a status as a learner, as an instructor. So as people are moving through this process, they have the ability to set any one of these statuses of away, raised hand, whatever that might be, to make this much easier for me as the instructor to manage the session. So Elise, as she's listening to me go through my talk, maybe she has a question, maybe she wants to say she's confused, any of those things, she can pop open the participants panel and change her status to anything she might want to, like raise or applaud or whatever it might be. And then I can pause and say, hey, Elise, looks like you have a question. Once I've answered it, I can then clear her status and make this really easy for me to see who has questions and move through it that way. The other thing I can do here is make her a presenter, promote her to a moderator, kick her out if she's not laughing at my jokes, really the power that you would expect to have in this situation, as well as the ability to chat as we move through this. So you can do private chat or public for people to ask questions that way. And then if we want to, we also have the ability to create breakout rooms so you can take that larger group, break them out into other sessions, and really help them get whatever they need and that collaborative experience going, because we all know we learn best when we learn with others. You can even see that little pop-up message showing me that Elise is also saying hello. And that's kind of this tool in a nutshell. You know, I've gone through a lot of content really quickly here, but Brightspace has a lot to offer. There's so much that I didn't even touch on today that I'm sure we'd be happy to do a longer webinar about, or do a personalized demo with any one of you so you can kind of tell us about your needs as we move through these processes. But on a high level, this is Brightspace. This is what it has to offer in terms of the ways you can deliver content, the ability to integrate with other tools like proctoring and things like that. The ability to create content really quickly, no matter who you are. And then lastly, the ability to create really engaging, memorable, personalized learning experiences so that your members really feel like they're getting their value out of the courses, as well as learning the things that you need them to learn in order to earn those credits or whatever that might be. And then kind of lastly, D2L also has the ability to partner with you to help you understand the strategy around an LMS, or to help you create courses and upgrade your current courses as you move through these processes. So with a few minutes to spare, I'd like to thank you all very much for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that may have come up in the chat as we move through the process. I'd like to thank, one more thing, Reggie. I'd like to thank Reggie for having me on here, as well as the organization itself for allowing me to do this demo today.
Well, thank you for a very thorough demo, sir. I don't see any questions in the Q&A boxes. If anybody has any, we got a few more minutes left to pop those in there. I'm going to ask you a question about integrations, a couple of ways of integrations.
Sure.
I'm assuming that you have integrations with most of the AMS systems.
Mm-hmm.
And so talk to me about that, and also talk to me about your integrations with video platforms like Zoom and WebEx and that sort of stuff. That's
a great question, Reggie. Thanks for calling that out. I wasn't sure I was going to have time for it in the demo otherwise. It's worth noting that Brightspace has a completely open application programming interface, or API, so it can really be used to integrate with anything that has the ability to integrate. We have an out-of-the-box Zoom, WebEx, Teams, GoToMeeting, and Google Meet integration that can just be turned on and configured at any time, as well as that built-in virtual classroom tool. We also have a very deep partnership with NSYNC, who specializes in IMIS integrations, as well as a number of their partners as well across North America and the European Union. So we've integrated with IMIS many times, Wicket, Microsoft Dynamics, many AMSs, and really that open application programming interface is the key to that, because it doesn't really matter what it is. We can connect to it so that you can get automatic information into Brightspace, like users and their enrollments, and automatic information out of Brightspace, like course completions and credits and hours and those sorts of things.
Got it. So I'm assuming that you are a SaaS model platform, but also, where are you hosted? Do you host it yourself? Is there a possibility of hosting on site now, or Amazon or something like that?
Great question. So we are a cloud-based platform only. We use Amazon Web Services. On-prem or on-premise is no longer something we offer due to the monthly updates of the platform. It would just be too difficult to give everyone all this great new functionality on a monthly basis while doing on-prem. And within AWS, we have the ability to offer data residency in any location, US, Canada, or the European Union, depending on what you'd like for that.
Got it. So one last question. What's the coolest thing that you have on your roadmap right now that people can look forward to?
Coolest thing we have on our roadmap. So we're working on a new skills model. So right now we have the ability to define competencies, but the world is moving in this skills-based direction, right? Where everyone needs to have a skill, and it's really difficult to quantify who has those skills. So Brightspace is currently developing a new model for defining skills, tracking skills, and achieving skills, where you can define what specific activity within a course or the course itself means that you have that skill, as well as when it needs to be reassessed, so that you can use Brightspace as a full skills management platform, as well as the ability to teach them those skills within the platform.